Love and health form the foundation and pillars that support all that you do to create fulfillment and success in every aspect of your life. Love within us guides our paths while our health enables us to drive forward. The two are inseparable and vital for growth and reaching your fullest potential. Welcome to Love and Health in America with Dr. Doohi Lee, Mary McMahon, and Jens Johnson. Dr. Lee is an international speaker, author, inventor of the Diamond Matrix, and medical director of Advanced Surgical Arts. Mary McMahon is a certified financial planner professional committed to maximizing your financial success. And Jens Johnson, the Mindset Master, is a best-selling author, speaker, mastermind facilitator, and success mindset coach. They are committed to help you succeed by optimizing your health, finances, and relationships. Please join them and explore all the facets of love and health to achieve and live your abundant life. Here are your hosts, Dr. Doohi Lee, Mary McMahon, and Jens Johnson.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Love and Health in America. We are so excited to have you join. I'm here with the most wonderful Mary McMahon, certified financial planner.
Professional.
Professional. Is that what it is? Professional?
The CFP board, which is a nonprofit board, has lots of rules around how you use the marks, and you speak it, you write it, it's out in there. So if you ever meet a financial planner and they say they're a financial planner, and they don't say they're a certified financial planner professional, then you know they're not actually a financial planner.
Okay, see these are all the little tips that I get from you that I love. So it's actually certified financial planner professional. Okay, now y'all, everybody better remember that.
And in writing, certified financial planner is all uppercase with a trademark symbol, and then professional is spelled after that. So anything in writing, if you don't see it all in uppercase and with the trademark symbol and the professional, they're not actually a financial planner either. And Joe knows that I've had to, anytime I give over written over to anyone, everyone is like, oh, she must have spelled this incorrectly and put it in all uppercase.
Right, and they're like, let me do the liberty to correct it for her. And you're like, no. But, before we get into our main topic, because we're waiting just a little bit for Dr. Doohi Lee to come, he was doing his job, which is working with amazing patients, and he had a little emergency with one of his patients, so he's on his way. But let's kind of break down the difference between what a certified financial planner professional is versus what everybody else is.
Oh, well, that's really good. So you see the word financial advisor, and financial advisor is a generic term that regulators want everyone who's in the financial professional services to use, especially if you are licensed and registered in securities, meaning you work with investments. And that is the generic title they want you to use. And a financial advisor could be someone who passed a test yesterday and got a 70 on it, or a financial advisor could be your most talented, your most gifted experience, wisdom of working with money. And there's no differentiation there. So a lot of people, because there are so many financial advisors out there, so many people want to differentiate themselves. And so they think if they use the word financial planner, that will work. And so there is the insurance world, and the insurance world, because of 401ks going into action in 1981, companies became umbrella groups where they had insurance and they took on a broker-dealer and RIA. There's my for the day.
How many do you allow yourself to have?
Just one. Anyway, so this blanket group. And so a life insurance person could also be registered in securities and be under that umbrella, and they get called a financial advisor. That's the second one. So certified financial planning is not from the insurance world. It's not from the investments world. It was a group of people who were very interested in financial planning as a profession. The interest became very apparent in the 60s, but by the 1980s, because of 401ks going into action, and the whole world of financial services completely changed. Well, they were concerned about that, so they decided, because there was no standard of education, no standard of practice, no standard of ethics, none of that. So the CFP board actually decided to create a standard of education, a standard of examination, a standard of continuing ed, a standard of integrity, ethics, fairness. It is, you must be experienced to do the 2 years of CFP education work, and then you must take what used to be a 2-day board exam. If you think about doctors taking a board exam, or attorneys taking a board exam, or CPA, accountants taking a CPA board exam, it's a board exam. It's 2 days, timed, it's super intense. I had to take my financial calculator. I had to duct tape the back of it because it had different functions on there, and they didn't want you to, I had to duct tape it.
But you know what? It gives you a real sense of security as a consumer, knowing that when they connect with somebody like you, with your credentials, with your experience, that you've been vetted, and the information that you're providing and the recommendations and even the approach it's at a completely different level, and it's something that I personally did not know. I mean, I was one of those people that I thought a financial planner, it was just like a financial advisor, and it was all lumped into one, and that everybody could do all the same, provide all the same services. And I honestly, I did not know until we met about 4 years ago. And you have done an outstanding job explaining the differences, because people don't know this information.
Yes, and I just want to say, because it's so intense, not only do you have to be experienced to even be allowed to participate in the CFP program, you must do the education work, and you must do this 2-day board exam. They've reduced it down with the use of technology. And 50% of, typically about 50% of people, experienced, talented, educated people actually fail the CFP exam. I, of course, did not do that.
Well,
I was above the line.
I would assume they allow you to take it multiple times.
Yes. They only offer it 3 times a year, and so you know, if you miss out that first time, I just took it one time. I finished early, and I was above the average.
Well, of course, I would expect nothing less from you, Mary.
At any rate, yes, and the CFP board is an independent nonprofit board and doesn't answer to anyone else. The only problem is that the investment world and the insurance world, where you put it.
Right.
They still haven't figured that out yet.
Okay, so here, I'm going to ask a question, and anybody that's listening in right now that has a money question that Mary can answer, because I know some questions that you can answer, some you can't because of the standard that you are held to. I know you can talk in generalities, I believe. Is that correct?
Well, I'm trained to do planning work in areas of legal work like estate planning. I'm trained to do tax planning. You do tax planning throughout. I am not a licensed accountant or CPA. I'm not an attorney, so I can't give actual advice, but I can do planning work for you and get you ready for that professional, especially with verbiage, language, what you want to address with your CPA. And then my clients can also give me written authorization to actually work one-on-one with their attorney and with their CPA to take care of matters on their behalf.
Okay, so here's a question
Yeah.
I have for you.
Yeah. Let's see if I can answer
Well,
it.
I'm sure that you can, and I just want your point of view on it.
Yeah.
So you know that a good friend of mine and yours, Deb Johnson, and I have recently started a company, a real estate investing company.
So exciting.
Called Heart Property Group, and I'm so excited about it. We
Yes.
literally are just at the very beginning, because when my husband and I started talking to you about planning, financial planning, and really, I'm going to work until the day I die because I love working, and it's not a chore to me. I'm a diehard entrepreneur. I come from a family of entrepreneurs, and so I can never imagine not working. And one of the things that we had discussed was, okay, look, I've got an option. I can just dive right back into my own personal business, which I still do. I can get involved in a W-2 gig, or I can get into real estate investing, which is something that I've always been interested in, had my real estate license in the past. And you said 100% jump into that real estate investing. So we're so excited about it.
Yeah.
But we're really learning a lot about 401ks versus self-directed IRAs.
Yes.
And I mean, obviously, I know there's a difference where if you work for a company and you have a 401k, they basically have a conservator that manages that. But if you're in a position where you have control, it's something that you want to look into, taking that money out of a 401k into a self-directed IRA. And I just kind of want to know your thoughts on the difference of the two, and your thoughts on those.
Well, I do like the self-directed IRA. That requires a custodian. Since it is an IRA, there's a massive, if you think your tax return is massive, there's a massive amount of reporting that the custodian does to the IRS in regard to your IRA. And so if you're going to do a self-directed IRA, you need to work with a group and that has a custodian that will do that. And so most people don't know that the three parties in the investment world, there is your financial advisor, there is the platform, and so you can think of like Fidelity. Fidelity is a platform. And then there's the custodian, and the custodian since I used Fidelity as the platform, their custodian is National Direct Services, if I remember correctly. I've worked with them in the past. They're phenomenal. And Fidelity owns them, so that is a revenue stream for Fidelity as a big group.
Right.
So anyway, for a self-directed IRA, most people are working with a financial advisor and the platform with a custodian, and they do not have a capacity to allow you to do self-directed IRAs and investing in real estate. Mm-hmm. So there are groups out there that do that, and that's who you want to work with, because then the custodian is going to do all the reporting work for you on that. I think that's a great opportunity. Diversification of assets, diversification of income streams, having multiple diversified assets, having diversified streams of income, having multiple streams of income. Is one of the most powerful things you can do for your later years, whether you want to work or not, is to create multiple streams of income that you own. And so the self-directed IRA is wonderful because you actually get to own that real estate inside of where you've got money. A lot of people, most people have most of their money tied up in retirement accounts, which is problematic because it's got all those rules and locks on it. What's nice about that self-directed IRA is that it actually allows you to keep money in an IRA and use that money to actually buy real estate, which is a great opportunity for passive income.
Well, one of the reasons
Not to mention owning the asset value as well, because then if you can always sell it as well. So I mean, it's two things.
Right, it's a win-win.
It's a win-win.
It's a win-win, and when we started talking, and you've got your, I just call it a financial game board.
I do have a financial game board. We play games.
Yeah, when I saw that financial game board, and one of the areas is cash flow.
Yes.
You know, and you talk a lot about cash flow when you're working
Yes.
with your clients, which what I love about what you do is there's so much education. It's not just, hey, listen, I'm going to tell you what to do. You truly teach people. And that's I think that's something that really sets you apart. And because to me, education and knowledge is power. And when you start to learn new things, we don't need you on our shoulder 24/7, but you're only a text or a phone call away to guide us and direct us.
Yeah.
But you talked a lot about cash flow, which was one of the reasons I started to look at real estate investing, because, if you just make a commitment, I don't care how old you are, if you make a commitment to say, you know what, I'm going to get 1 to 2 rental properties a year. Well, within 3 to 4 years, you have 4 to 8 rental properties that are bringing in cash flow on a monthly basis. And that's powerful.
It is.
I mean, it's really, really powerful. And again, it's an additional stream of income, which you talk about all the time.
Yeah.
Multiple streams of income.
Yes, and I'm so excited, Jens, about your going back into the real estate world and including this into your financial world. I am like you. I am blessed. I created how I work and my private independent practice today. I created that. That's a lot of work. One of the payoffs I get is that's my practice. I get to work. I get to work with people I love to work with. I get to work really hard, which I really like to do. And I do like to take time off. And it's nice. I don't need a lot of time off. And I really do like to work. And I never really want to stop working. I always say, hey, you know what? The moment I can't work is the moment that I need to go 6 feet under, because
Right.
I wouldn't be happy.
I know.
I was working when I was giving birth to my daughter. I didn't intend to, but I got this really important phone call, and I happened to be in between contractions.
Somehow I completely believe this.
And that phone call made me thousands of dollars. And then I had another deal go through while I was in labor. I made like thousands and thousands of dollars when I was giving labor.
Hey, listen, you too can do
Giving
this.
birth, not giving
okay,
labor.
you too can do this. You can make money while you're in the hospital giving birth. Okay, if Mary can do it, we all can do it. But that really is part of
true
the
story.
magic. I know it is, but that's part of the magic of creating your life and being in control of every aspect of your life. And I know, there's some things that just pop up, but when you set out, and I don't care how old you are, you can be any age when you make this decision, but when you finally make the decision that you want to be in control and you want to create the life that you want to live, you love it because you're the creator. You are the creator. And if you don't love it, you get to make different choices and or tweak. And
Yes.
one of the things I just got a text from Dr. Lee that said, I'm not going to be able to make it. So we're going to continue on. But one of the things we were talking about before the show started was we were talking about the topic that we were going to discuss today with Dr. Lee, and it's really how your mindset and how love impacts your healthcare experience. Now, Dr. Lee was going to share with us his point of view, which is of course from the professional, from a physician. But you just recently had an experience with your daughter, and you were sharing, just really what that professional's mindset and how they choose to operate and practice medicine, the impact that it made on your daughter. And I want you to kind of share a little bit about that, because I've got a great story to tell as well.
Okay, so it is a great story. So my daughter is a sophomore in college. She's an NCAA Division I athlete in volleyball, and she experienced an accident on the court in practice in the early morning. They're there at 6 a.m. practicing, and she came down from a block or a hit. She landed on another player who had gone underneath the net, and she dislocated her subtalar joint, which is on the side of the foot. It's not the actual ankle. However, her orthopedic doctor, the head orthopedic doctor for the team, when Lauren had a visit with him, she had a variety of professionals around her. He said to her, he said, if you do this again, he said, you will have to quit playing volleyball forever. And that injury, you recover from that injury like it's a sprained ankle. And I was completely floored. In fact, I was drugged down that day. My daughter shared it with me, and I was drugged down. I'm like, if I feel this way, I know she feels that way. And I told her, I said, number one, I said, never, ever, ever, ever let anyone tell you what your future is going to be. And number two, never, ever, ever let someone else tell you how your future is going to go. I said, you choose how your future is going to go. I'm thinking to myself, why would a doctor talk to her about healing this by telling her, hey, in the future, it's something that didn't happen. I said, never worry about something that hasn't even happened. Yet he put that in
Her mind.
Yes. And I told her, I said, you never, ever, ever worry about something that hasn't even happened.
You know, it reminded me, I'm going to tell you a story about my husband, but before, it reminded me about Wilma Rudolph. And Wilma Rudolph was a woman that was born, she was to a very large family, and she was close. I mean, I think they had like 9 to 12 siblings.
Yes, I remember that story.
And she, during her childhood, got sick, and during that time period while she was sick, I thought it might have been polio, it was something, but it limited her ability to walk.
Yeah.
And, you know, the doctor said she'll never walk again.
Yeah.
And her mother said she will walk again.
Yes.
I mean, her mother just said, I'm not going to accept that. She will walk again. And she would tell Wilma, you will walk again. So then she did start walking, but she had a limp for many, many years. And Wilma Rudolph told her mom, I want to run and I want to enter races. And she said, enter the race, you'll win. And her siblings made fun of her, but her mother said, you will win. And she went to run into races, and of course she came in dead last, and her mom said, just keep going, keep entering the race, you're going to win, you're going to win. And slowly it was from last place to second to last to third to last, and to third place to second place to first place.
And then to Olympic gold.
Yes,
Yeah.
5 gold medals in the Olympics. In fact, I think she was either the first woman or the first athlete to win 5 gold medals. And, you know, her saying was, the doctor said I wouldn't run or walk. My mom said I would. I chose to believe my mom. So it really does make a huge impact who you choose to believe. But as a professional, what professionals tell you, whether it's in the medical industry or out of the medical industry, you know, somebody has knowledge, and like we said, knowledge is power. And so you believe whatever they have to say. And you know, sometimes that's a good thing. Sometimes it's not a good thing. But it was funny. My husband's got this disease called Duprin's disease, and it's in the hands, it's in the joints. It can be in other parts of your body, but it curls the joints up. And he had several surgeries on this one finger, and the doctor told him, the doctor that did this first 2 surgeries said, you know, you're going to be in a fight between you and the disease the minute you wake up. And you really have got to exercise your fingers and all this. And that just did nothing for Dave, just nothing. Now, the third time he had surgery, it was a different physician. And the physician said, if you don't do your exercises, the next step is we will amputate this finger. And let me tell you, when he got home, he just, and he exercised. So last week, I had to go in to see the same physician. I accidentally hurt my thumb. And so I went in and I told him, I said, you know, you were the only physician that really made an impact. And I said to my husband, and I told him, you know, I said, when you said amputate that finger was the next step. And he said, well, that is the next step.
Well, it's not funny, actually, we're laughing, but that's not funny.
So, you know, what I'm saying is you have to understand what it is that you're going to believe and take in, like you said, and allow to have space in your brain and what you're not going to allow. And when you're a child, an adolescent, you don't have all that information, it's scary. And we have to be really careful.
Well, you know, I'm going to touch on 2 points. One, I love working with you as the mindset master because we all need someone to be on our side of our hopes and dreams. I know I'm that for my clients, and I love that support from you in me creating the what's next for me. And mindset, which is what we just talked about, mindset is the very start of it all.
Always.
Very start of it all. And the second piece I just forgot because I'm just so in, it's so important on the mindset. What was I going to talk about?
But it'll come back to you because
Yeah.
I know. But it really is the beginning of all success starts in the mind.
It starts in the mind.
And if you can't change the way you think about something, if you can't tweak that perspective, you'll never get different results.
And why I love being in the mastermind, your mastermind, is because how you expand your thinking is reading.
You have to.
You have to read.
You have got to read. And what's amazing to me is how many people do not read on a regular, consistent basis. And I think we were even talking about this the other day, that, you know, the way I read is kind of like the way a person would watch TV. I usually have several books that I'm reading at a time.
Me too.
And so when I sit down to read, I just think, what am I in the mood for? And I just pull that book that I'm in the mood for and I read. But one of the things I say all the time, you can't pull anything good out of this brain unless you put something good into this brain.
Yes.
And whether it's the TV shows you're watching, whether it's the internet, whatever the people you surround yourself, you're getting negativity put into your brain. It's being forced into your brain, whether you realize it or not.
And that was my second point, and where people are going, where people are getting their medical advice, they're getting it from the corrupt corporate media. Like, why would you take medical advice from the media? Well, they're getting it from politicians.
I know, and it's like, when did they go to medical school?
Why would they can't even, craft a good piece of legislation? Why would you? And the internet is really not that great of a place for information. Mm-hmm. It's all points of view and biased information. And and that's where people get their information, and it's human nature. What you see, what you hear, what that person says, that you want to believe it. I mean, if the TV is on and someone says that, and I'm like, wait a second. First of all, they only have 30 seconds or 60 seconds. They can't even tell you the whole story. They're just picking out something that they want to say that's going to catch your attention and keep you glued to the TV. And that's all it is.
One of the things I think about all the time, and I talk about too with friends, is, I almost feel sorry for the youth that they have been born into this world where social media has been a part of their life their whole life.
Yeah.
Because social media wasn't a part of our life, and
No.
and it's not reality. What people see, it's almost like when you talk to some of the younger people, they don't have a complete grasp because they do have the internet and social media, and they have so many distractions and points of view and things that are coming at them that we just did not have at their age.
That's true, and there is a side of social media that I love for younger generations, like my daughter, obviously, sophomore in college. What I love is just the connections, the use of it to be so connected with she's connected with friends all over the country. She's connected with players in her sport all over the country, from her 5 years of playing club volleyball. She's I just love how they get to engage and connect with people the way it was really meant to be. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then, and I really do believe that's the beauty of it. You know, that's the beauty when it's used in that manner. Then there's also that side where, you know, people, they don't realize that, you know, listen, I'm a positive person and I
Yes, you
always
are.
want to be positive. And that doesn't mean I don't have a lot of crazy stuff going on in my life, because everybody has
Everybody
a bunch
has
of crazy
stuff going on in their
Everybody
life.
has a bunch of crazy stuff going
If
on.
you're a human being, you have crazy stuff going
Right.
on around you.
So you know, I always want to put that positive step forward. At the same time, you've got people that, if all they are seeing is, oh gosh, this person is positive and positive and positive, they don't have a bad day, they don't have things going on. So the authenticity, you know, you don't get to see the full picture. Now, personally, I'm an open book. You know, I am such an open book with my interactions with people live. Because of that fact, I just think it's important, but not everybody wants to air their dirty laundry, so to speak, or share all the ins and outs that they go through. But I think sometimes people, they just don't realize when I talk about the youth, because that's what they see, and then they start to think, well, what's wrong with me and what's wrong with my life? You know, I'm not experiencing all these wonderful, great things. But listen, everything happens in due time.
Success happens in action.
That's right.
Success happens through others.
That's right.
Clarity.
And success happens
Focus.
in decades.
Yep.
You know, that's another one
The
of my
right people, the
personal
right
sayings.
actions, accountability.
It
yes.
takes time.
It does. And when Jen's shared that success happens in decades, and I'm like, oh, darn. Then I started really thinking that through, and I started going a 10-year timeline, and I'm like, you know, that's really true, because it's that old saying, you have to close a door. If a door closes, the door has to close for another door to open for you. So life is really a series of experiences that are always taking you to the what's next. And so that's the being in action part. Now, it's good to have clarity and focus and not be a ping pong ball in life. But you must take one action to be able to even have access to what is possible. It can't come to you until you actually get in action. And I feel so sad sometimes, because I see a lot of people really give up on themselves. And it starts young.
Right.
Yeah, it starts young.
That's what I was going to say, is you just can't ever give up.
You
can
can't
never
give up.
give up, but it's easy to give up if you're alone. It's easy to give up if you don't have that support system, which is one of the reasons why I started the mastermind almost 6 years ago, because I would work one-on-one with clients, and it was amazing. It was so fulfilling. It was great to help people get from point A to point B and beyond. But what happened is, you know, I'm not going to work with them one-on-one forever. And so then they would go on their way, and then they would start to doubt, and they would start to get scared, and they would start to worry, and then they would stop. And what I found with the mastermind is, you've got that support that says, just keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, because it's those little steps. You know, it's my dad, as a professional tennis player growing up and playing professionally, he said, you know, your success, your progress is so small, but then it gets more and it gets more, but you don't go from here to here. It's just so slight. Well, when you're doing things on your own, sometimes you don't see that slight progress.
Yes.
But when you're with a group, a support group, they see, and they're constantly celebrating your wins with you.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. And I do the same thing in my profession, too. It's one thing to do a financial plan, and that's great. And here's the thing. Real life keeps going on. There are constantly there are financial situations and questions and circumstances to deal with. And my clients know that they can reach out to me after we do an initial planning agreement. Then there's opportunity to just go into an agreement where, hey, you've got access to me at any time with
And that's
anything.
a really great thing.
At anything that comes up, and it's just a small fee that goes through the year, and it's so valuable for people. I realized over the years that the industry is like, oh, could do this big, massive, big plan book, which I used to do. I'm not going to say it's not useful. Knowledge is powerful, but being in action is more powerful. And there was nothing other than that.
Right.
There's no what's next for people.
Well, and that's the thing is when you get so much information at one time, and then you just kind of like kick them out the door and say, okay, go out there and be somebody.
Yeah.
I wish you luck.
Yeah.
Take all the. You need those training wheels, and you need that support for as long as you need it. And, that's one thing. Don't ever get upset. Don't judge yourself, compare yourself. It doesn't matter how long it takes. You just keep going and you keep going and you keep going.
And I love it when you say that, because that's true.
It's just, it's a process. And this is the neat thing is everybody has the same emotions. We all have fear. We all have hope. We all want to be loved. We all are, enjoy humor and laughter. We're so similar. We are more similar than we are different.
Yes.
So we can relate to one another even when we haven't done or been through the exact same situations. We still can relate. We still can show compassion. We can still show self-love and selfless love to other people.
Yes.
In all that we do.
It's actually the engine of it, I believe.
I believe so too. And that's
Yes.
why we have Love and Health in America, because we know Love and Health in America is the foundation, and that money aspect is that third leg of the stool
Yes.
that allows everything to work. So I'm
Yes.
telling you, Dr. Lee, we missed you.
Yes, we did, Dr. Lee.
But we know that you'll be back again with us next time. And so until we meet again,
Live richly.
love deeply, and what does Dr. Lee say?
Stay healthy.
Stay healthy. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for being with us for this episode of Love and Health in America. Dr. Doohi Lee, Mary McMahon, and Jens Johnson are committed to help you achieve a life full of love, health, and abundance. Please join us in our next episode as we share another facet for you to optimize love and health in your life. Until next time, love deeply, live richly, and stay healthy.